Okay, good morning and welcome to the Lancaster County Board of Commissioners meeting for Tuesday, February 20th. I am County Board Chair Sean Flowerday. With me is Vice Chair Rick Vess and Commissioners Matt Schulte, Roma Amundsen, and Krista Yoakum. Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Clerk, please begin.
Location announcement of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act. A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located in the wall of the rear of the hearing room. All written materials to be discussed at today's open meeting is available for electronic viewing from the county clerk staff. Printing options are available upon request. These materials can also be viewed on the county's website at lancaster.ne.gov. Brings us to item 1, minutes. Approval of the minutes of the Board of Commissioners meeting held on February 13th, 2024.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundsen,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yoakum,
Abstain?
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0 with an abstention. Brings us to item 2, claims. 2A, approval of the claims processed through February 20th, 2024.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Yoakum,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundsen,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. 2B, approval of a claim to Cedars Youth Services in the amount of $78,962.50.
I'd move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yoakum,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundsen,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Abstain, as my wife is employed there.
Motion carries 4-0 with an abstention. 2C, approval of a claim to El Centro de las Americas in the amount of $11,514.94.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Amundsen,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yoakum,
I'll abstain as I serve on their board of directors.
Vest,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0 with an abstention. 2D1, approval of claims of including for billings of goods and services beyond the 90-day time period provided in Nebraska Revised Statute 23-135 for Airmark Services Incorporated dated February 19th, 2024 for a total of $4,390.62.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundsen,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yoakum,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Number 3 is a special presentation from the Lancaster County Sheriff's Office badging ceremony.
Well, good morning, Commissioner Flowerday and fellow commissioners. Thank you for allowing us to conduct this really special public ceremony to recognize those deputies who have successfully completed their 1 year of training, their academy training, their field training, and then on their reaching solo status. It's a challenging time for law enforcement, but they have accepted the challenge, and we're thrilled to have them. A police officer's badge is probably the most visible and recognizable symbol of policing around the world. It's seen by many as a sign of authority, sacrifice, and service. Originally symbolizing shields used in battle, over time, the badges have come to identify the authority vested in public servants from the Middle Ages to the modern era. Law enforcement's most visible symbol of service has taken on an almost iconic meaning as the profession of policing has evolved. To the law enforcement officer, the badge represents the public trust with which they have the authority to act and to which they have the duty to remain true. From a practical standpoint, officers wear badges to identify who they are and who they work for. Today, uniformed law enforcement officers proudly wear their badges to show their allegiance to the communities that they serve and the pride that they have in their agency and in this profession. For these newer deputies, the badge also represents the final goal of arduous training for recruits preparing to complete their law enforcement training. Earning the badge represents the culmination of a tremendous effort and achievement, as well as a new beginning in a new career as they complete field training and ultimately embark on their solo training or solo patrol. In 1829, Sir Robert Peel established the London Metropolitan Police Force. He has become known as the father of modern policing and established 9 principles that remain as relevant to our profession today as ever. They also serve as a backdrop for all we do at the Sheriff's Office. One of Sir Robert Peel's principles says, "The police at all times should maintain a relationship with the public that gives reality to the historic tradition that the police are the public and the public are the police. The police are the only members of the public who are paid to give full-time attention to duties which are incumbent on every citizen in the interest of the community welfare." Today, surrounded by fellow law enforcement officers and citizens of the community we serve, we will pin badges on as a symbol of that public trust and commitment. Wear your badge with pride and humility, knowing that the weight of its responsibility is supported by all of us, police and public and police, in the interest of the welfare of all who live, work, and play in Lancaster County. So if I can, I'll have Captain Vic call the names and we'll do the presentations.
At this time, would the recognized deputies please step forward as I call your name? Deputy Tim Dowhauer. Deputy Dowhauer's badge will be pinned on by his wife, Ashley. Deputy Zachary Anshazi. Deputy Anshazi's badge will be pinned on by Sheriff Wagner.
I should have had a step stool here. Congratulations.
Finally, Deputy Trevor Caldwell. Deputy Caldwell's badge will also be pinned on by Sheriff Wagner. Congratulations to you all, and at this time, Commissioner Sean Flowerday will administer your oath of office.
Okay. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Nebraska against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or for the purpose of evasion, and that I will faithfully and impartially perform the duties of the office of Deputy Lancaster County Sheriff. According to law and to the best of my ability. And I do further swear that I do not advocate, nor am I a member of any political party or organization, that advocates the overthrow of the government of the United States
that advocates the overthrow of the government of the United States
or of this state by force or violence,
or this state by force or violence,
and that during such time as I am in this position,
and during such time that I am in this position,
I will not advocate or become a member
that I will not advocate or become a member
of any political party or organization
of any political party or organization
that advocates the overthrow of the government of the United States
that advocates the overthrow of the United States
or of this state by force or violence.
or this state by force or violence.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
You guys want to say anything?
Any closing remarks?
Well, I will make a closing remark, if I may. Okay, and to be honest, what you have taken is a very solemn oath, and it follows, it follows a tremendous group of people that have served as police officers over decades, over centuries, actually. It's a very solemn one. You have a stake in it. It is something that is, you will be called upon for sacrifice, that you will be put possibly in, more than likely, in dangerous situations, and that could really impact your health and welfare and life. And so we thank you for your service to the community in the protection of our civil society. We also thank all of the spouses, the parents, and the children who have a stake in this, and this is for every police officer who serves.
Thank you.
Good.
Well, I just, I really appreciate taking the time to give these deputies a chance to publicly acknowledge their oath of office and their commitment to our community and to our profession. So I am thrilled to have these three deputies on solo patrol, and I'm really proud in these times where it's difficult to find people who will do this job, that they're willing to step up and keep our community safe. So thank you.
Thank you, Terry, and for the team that you put together and for the job that you faithfully carried out. It's wonderful to have these individuals join that team and carry out the responsibilities to the citizens. So thank you all, gentlemen, for stepping forward, and to all of you who go out every day in order to better the welfare of the public. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk?
Commissioners, that brings us to item 4, consent items. These are routine business items that are expected to be adopted without dissent. Any individual item may be removed for special discussion and consideration by a commissioner or by any member of the public without prior notice. Unless there's an exception, these items will be approved as one single vote of the Board of Commissioners. These items are the approval of amendments to the following county contracts: for C-23-0521 with Purple Wave Incorporated for auction services, C-22-0928 with HD Supply Facilities Maintenance Limited for janitorial supplies and equipment, C-23-0679 with Voices of Hope for the Coordinated Response to Reducing Domestic Violence Program funded by the Violence Against Women Act, C-23-0112 with Galls LLC to provide the annual supply of county corrections uniforms. B, right-of-way contracts with the following: Jason and Tamara Dame, North 98th Street, Holder Street to Adams Street, in the amount of $7,910. Timothy and Carrie Vacek, North 98th Street, Holden Street to Adams Street, in the total amount of $15,000. William D. and Amelia T. Smith, West Superior Road and Northwest 98th Street, in the amount of $946. Duncan Aviation Incorporated, Northwest 12th Street and West Raymond Road, in the amount of $730. Sally S. Jacobs and William D. and John C. Stearns, estate of Carl Hermance, Northwest 56th Street and West Mill Road, in the total amount of $3,035. Joan Whitstruck Life Estate, Southwest 58th Street and West Sautillo Road, in the amount of $522. Kyle and Jessica Swarting, Northwest 84th Street and West Rock Creek Road, in the total amount of $1,347.50. Woodruff Family LLC, Southwest 29th Street and West Bennett Road, in the total amount of $617.50. A grant contract with Reach and 5 Systems for the Beta Crit training in the amount of $20,150. Change Order 3 to County Contract C-23-0983 with Yost Excavating due to a change in project plan note. And finally, Change Order 1 to County Contract C-23-0764 with Hampton Commercial Construction for construction of a civil protective custody center.
Move approval of the consent items?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Yocum,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yep.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Brings us to new business. 5A, appointment to the office of Lancaster County Clerk of the District Court.
Well, I think that what I would like to do is to briefly review the process that we went through. We had 11 candidates, and we perused the applications, and then we also selected 3 to interview. We conducted the interview, and based upon some of the key points within the interviews, as well as within the background of the applications, we made our opinion. I made my opinion, I guess, on the basis of experience, of knowledge, and for the interest of the continuity of operations within the office. So I would move that we appoint Simon Rezek to the office of Lancaster County Clerk of the District Court, effective February 28th, 2024, at the annual salary set forth by resolution number R22-0005.
I would second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank, I know there was, during the interview process, there was several people from the Clerk of the District Court and the District Court, employee of the Supreme Court, and I really took the chance to follow up with them and hear what their feedback was, and I really appreciate them taking the time. And I'm not supportive of Simon stepping in this role. I think there's a couple different reasons specifically that came out. Number one, just 2 weeks ago, he presented a document saying he's going to retire in the next year to us. And that causes concern because it does not create the longevity. He never in his interview or during that presentation a couple weeks ago said anything to the contrary of that. So I look at that and say, we don't want to appoint someone who's just going to turn around and retire right away. That's not helpful to the county or to the Clerk of the District Court's office. I also was really pretty disturbed when he said in his interview that there's no improvements that need to be made in the office, whereas some of the other candidates who had just barely stuck their nose in were able to identify some improvements that need to be made. And there was also some significant concerns raised by people not in the interview about the way Simon has responded in leadership. So I'd actually like to make a motion to amend the motion to say Chris Beckenbaugh instead of Simon.
So you're offering an amendment?
Yep.
Is there a second? Is there a second? Motion to amend fails for lack of a second.
I would like to make a comment. I too would like to make a comment. I have every confidence that no matter who we would have chosen from the 3 top candidates, the work of the office would go on because of the staff. Because in conversations I've had with the staff certainly take their responsibility seriously and recognize the significance of the work that they do. And we know that office has been operating well from that standpoint. I guess I was looking for something different in a top candidate, And I saw that in Lynn Quenzer in, talking about some process improvements that she'd been involved with previously, those sorts of things, and the integrity in which she approaches things. Simon has certainly performed the role that he has been in well, and so I don't want to take anything away from that. And so, having said that, I feel like I will vote no on this.
Any other discussion?
This is a very difficult decision.
It is.
I want to say that up front, and I got a lot of feedback and input from a variety of sources, people that I know and think the world of, good friends and professionals who are helping do the work that's so important for that office. So it ran a wide range, and I'm just going to say this is one of the most difficult decisions I've had to make in a long, long time, and no sense dwelling on that. But we have to look at the package in its entirety. I think any of the three that we interviewed could do the job and bring a lot of positive qualities to the office. I was impressed by all three that we interviewed, and I think there were some we weren't able to interview who brought a lot to the table too. But in cases like this, we only get to choose one person. This is a somewhat unique one in that we've interviewed a number of people since I've been on the board, positions that report directly to the board. This position does not. This position is elected by the voters, and the voters have their opportunity to express their opinion. They have expressed their opinion that they are satisfied or happy with the way the office has operated under Troy Hawk. Troy Hawk himself sent us a letter of recommendation thinking that he thinks Simon is the right candidate to follow up on his legacy and continue the work, the good work that's being done. So it comes down to very small differences in the three. I ended up on Simon because of a number of factors like that.
Yeah. I really agree that I think we had three strong candidates, and they didn't make it easy. Everybody interviewed well, and I thank everybody for their time. I'm also going to be supportive of Simon's nomination for this. I think his experience it just can't be overlooked. So, any further discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Schulte,
No.
Yocum,
No.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundsen,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 3-2.
Congratulations, sir. All the best to you as you carry out these new responsibilities.
Very good. Mr. Clerk, please continue.
Carry on the good work.
Item 5B, an agreement with Patricia Klauman to provide safety training option program instruction to participants of the Lancaster County Traffic Diversion Program. The county will pay $125 per stop class instructed.
Move approval.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundsen,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. 5C, a contract with Matheson Trigas for providing delivery of industrial medical gas. The cost of the county is not to exceed $12,000.
Move approval.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Yocum,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundsen,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. 5D, an agreement with the Lancaster Rural Water District 1 of Bennett, Nebraska for the relocation of water line facilities along locations of S-163 on Martell Road and S-051 on South 25th Street. Total cost of the county for both locations is $45,479.50.
Good morning, John Barry, Lancaster County Engineering. This is the interlocal agreement with Lancaster Rural Water District Number 1. They're based out of Bennett. This is to relocate two water mains, which are both associated with these two culverts, which are part of our ARPA Phase 3 project. That project is scheduled to begin April 1st.
good to see this project moving forward. I move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
There's a member of the audience that would like to speak.
Oh, yeah, come on.
Okay.
Probably has it right here. My name's Terry Lowe. I live 3151 Martell Road, and I was not able to find any of the maps referenced in the agenda and even in the attachments. I just wanted to make sure.
I'll give you some.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, is it just on the corner sections, the 25th in Martell and Woodstrick?
I will have to look, because quite honestly, it's generally not my area.
Oh, okay.
But I will get you a map that'll show you.
Because
exactly
I want
what
to
it's called.
make sure if we're talking about replacing the water line, I happen to be tapped into the rural water. If it's going all the way down Martell Road, there'll be some issues for the property owners there, especially one that built a dam, which I think is over. So anyhow, I just wanted to follow up to make sure I understood, when property owners would be notified that if there is going to be a water shut off, just that stuff like that. Okay?
I'll meet with you afterwards, and I'll get your name and
Perfect.
send you all the information.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for the follow-up on that, John. Appreciate it.
Okay, any further discussion? And I'm sorry, did we have a motion? Yeah. Okay, then, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Best,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Item 5E, recommendation from the purchasing agent on behalf of the county engineer to award and execute a purchase order to Truck Center Companies for 3 2025 or newer dump bodies. The total amount of the order is $707,802.
Good morning again, John Berry, Lancaster County Engineering. This is our purchase request for 3 new dump trucks. Generally, we cycle them in and out based on the years and how many mileage. So this is what they'll look like. They won't be yellow. They'll be red, I believe. And they do not have these little wings on them at this time. It's something that maybe in the future we'll work on. But that's generally what the trucks will look like.
What's the purpose of the wings?
Generally, those would be used to do shoulders.
Okay.
Instead of having to go back and forth with the blades and stuff like that, they could swing that out. The city of Lincoln has quite a few of these that they use too. That kind of cleans out it'll also clean out the ditches a little bit. They could angle them down a little bit to get the anything off the edges. So that's what those would be for.
One of the concerns when I came on the board was the age of the fleet that the engineering department was using, and the cost of maintenance and downtime was really a heavy burden on the department. You can't be out on the roads if your truck's in the mechanical shop.
And we have a lot of those older vehicles that are, like you said, Commissioner, that are being repaired constantly. So if we can update two or three every year, we can get rid of some of those vehicles and hopefully get rid of that process eventually.
Yeah, and so it's actually an efficiency to maintain the fleet at a certain age level.
Correct.
Yeah, and that's the purpose, is that we avoid all those costs of downtime.
Correct.
Repair. So I will move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Best,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. 5F, a recommendation from the purchasing agent on behalf of the county engineer to award and execute a purchase order to Monroe Truck Equipment for 3 full moldboard trip reversible plows. The total amount of the order is $40,890.
John Berry, Lancaster County Engineering. These are the plows that go on the front of those 3 trucks. They order basically everything a little separate to get better pricing and things along that line. So these would be the plows that would go on the front of those 3 trucks.
What's the reversible part,
I
John?
haven't got a clue in heck what that is. Not my area.
For a
So I
mouthful
do
to
not know.
describe.
Fair enough.
Move
Leave
approval.
that. Yeah, leave that to the experts. I second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. 5G, a recommendation from the purchasing agent on behalf of the county engineer to award and execute a purchase order to Monroe Truck Equipment for 3 box spreaders. The total amount of the order is $98,871.
John Berry, Lancaster County Engineering. These are the spreaders that go in the back of those 3 new trucks.
I move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Yocum,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Brings us to item 6, the legislative update.
Do we have anything on this?
Well, really important, last Thursday, I testified on behalf of the bill that Senator Bostar has bought concerning low-income housing, Section 42 as we know it. Very impressed. It started with Fred Hoppy. You'll want to know that Fred was there to testify and tell why it's important, and really impressive display of people coming together to support this bill. Liba was there, the home builders were there, and a number of other folks. And Sean even said that a local official from
Mayor Valentine.
who wasn't even there on behalf of that bill, got up and spoke in support. So that hearing went very, very well.
Very good.
Mayor Argenbright's testimony was almost my favorite. He got up and he said his low point of being mayor was when Valentine had to close their nursing facility, and his high point was when they were able to open their affordable housing development. And I was like,
That's good.
It was a good. So no, it was a really, really good hearing. We had over, I think it was 20 even testifiers, proponents. There was no opposition, no letters of opposition. There was NACO came in neutral on the legislation. Outside of that, everything else was it was a great hearing. So
I don't know that we've seen any projections on how this would actually affect the values of the properties that really brought this forward. Is that something we should expect to see before the bill actually passes, or do we have any idea?
I think the assessor's office has been working on that, so I think we can get it to you.
Okay, I just be curious to see what
Sure.
what the actual impact ends up being.
Sure.
I just wanted to let you know that I will be, in my role with the Region 5 Advisory Board, submitting a letter regarding the funding for the region.
Great.
So,
Great. Anything else on legislative items?
I'll be there testifying in support of the East Beltway tomorrow.
Thanks for doing that. Seriously. So, okay. Well, we can move on to public comment then.
Item 7, public comment. Those wishing to speak on items on county business not on the agenda may do so at this time.
Good morning. My name is Penny Stevens. I'm from here in Lincoln, Nebraska, and I speak for we the people of the United States, and we are the boss. I want to review the 3-minute math lesson that took place last July. I want to start off with the conversation that Benno was having at the 17th minute mark of your video. He stated much of the data that's been presented have spread misinformation across the state and wouldn't pass the 6th grade math teacher test. And if I turn my homework with just the answers, what are they going to ask you? And Commissioner Schulte said, that's a little rude, don't you think? Benno responded, I said, people are entitled to their opinion, not their facts. Schulte then replied, but then you said they can't pass the 6th grade math test. Benno stated, what I'm saying is they don't show the work. your 6th grade math teacher would not pass you if you couldn't pass the math test. Again, I'm not being critical of the people that are coming before you, but yet he was, because one of those people with those charts that he was speaking of was Larry Ortega, and he was there that day. I just want to mention that Mr. Ortega has a master's degree in aerospace engineer, along with multiple other, to go along with his resume here. It's lengthy. He also speaks 5 other languages. And then also that information that's being presented over the last 3 years has been provided by Douglas Frank, who is a renowned physicist and 60 peer-reviewed scientist publications. He has a PhD in electro and analytical chemistry, which combines chemistry and physics. The guy knows his math, I'm just saying. His whole life is putting charts together. So the next part of the conversation was Schulte saying, so you're saying they can't pass the 6th grade math test? And Benna says, it's the information that can't show the work. And then Schulte said, well, say that then. Don't say they can't pass the 6th grade math test. Benna went on, with the information we're talking about, a 6th grade math teacher requires you not just to show an answer, but to show the process that you used to get there. I apologize if my analogy seemed inappropriate, but any math teacher worth their salt is going to ask for the work before they answer. He went on to talk about the algorithms. They haven't showed him the algorithms. I believe that's untrue. But he went on basically just saying, show me the work, show me the work. So Benna spoke those words. And now let's show you those words again. I'm saying they don't show the work. It's the information, you got to show the work. With the information we're talking about, you got to show the work. Show the process. Any math teacher worth their salt is going to ask for the work. Remember, we the people of the United States, we are the boss. Benna spoke those words, and we the people repeat those exact words. We're saying Secretary of State's office has not showed us the work. They have not showed us the work from the information from the results of the elections. We repeat what he's saying. We're asking for 3 years, show us the work. We're just going off what he said. We want the background work to be able to verify the answers. We, the people, have not been provided with. Those mainly are Benna's words. Remember, we, the people, we're the boss. We don't have to prove the elections were fraudulent. It's up to you guys. It's up to our servants to prove that it wasn't. We're just asking to show us the homework. And after 3 years, no one from the Secretary of State has shown us. They've spoken mere words. Thank you.
Before I give my statement, I'll just add to what Penny said. You asked for the cast vote records, or you asked about them. That is the work of the tabulators, which they refuse to show. This is going to be along the same lines as Penny's comments. A certain senator recently asked a friend of mine for proof that the Secretary of State's electronic voting system is being used to commit fraud. The senator had it all backwards. We, the people, don't work for him. or for the Secretary of State's office. We, the Senator and the Secretary of State's office, works for the people. We, the people, are under no obligation whatsoever to provide any evidence or proof of fraud. None. Especially when we aren't allowed access to the data. That's just plain idiotic. The onus is on government, to whom we, the people, delegated the governing of our elections, to prove to us that they are governing them with complete integrity and veracity, and that what they are calling our consent is in fact our consent. Is that not no-brainer stuff, or what? If government refuses to do so, they are bold in that refusal. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that something is very wrong, and that something is not going to be corrected in the next election, so-called election. If the computerized tabulators are providing honest and accurate election results, Benna could easily prove it to us and shut us up. The fact that he refuses to do so says all we need to know. The senator should have asked the SOS office for proof of honest elections. Now, having said all of that, I have a long list of proofs for fraud being committed, election fraud being committed in Nebraska. Most of them I've mentioned here before, so I'm only going to pick out 2 or 3. I've got about 13. The Secretary of State's office was recently outed in a report that secured a number of FOIA requests, some information from the federal government. And what it presented was that our Secretary of State's office has been complicit and participatory in a conspiracy to blatantly lie to the American people, not only about the 2020 election, but to censor Americans about the 2020 election. That's a violation of our First Amendment rights. A blatant, unconstitutional, unlawful censorship of the American people makes our Secretary of State an enemy of the First Amendment, and by doing so, an enemy of we the people, the voters of Nebraska. Wayne Benna's name is all over this documented conspiracy. The SOS office continually seeks to impose a false obligation on we the people to trust them, when the fact is our government, our system of government, was built on the principle that government shouldn't be trusted. That's why we have 3 branches. That's why we have checks and balances. The fact of the matter is the salvation of the state is watchfulness. Watchfulness. Let me back up. The salvation of the state is in fact watchfulness in the citizen, not trust in the citizen. This is engraved over the front door of our state capitol. Our senators, our Secretary of State, they sit under that engravement every day and they ignore it. The conclusion of this is that we the people must assume that our SOS office, that means Benna and Evnen, are committing fraud with their so-called electronic voting system until they prove otherwise and continue to prove otherwise. At present, our SOS office is doing is doing everything they can to avoid accountability to we the people. I got to cut to the quick here. Election fraud constitutes divers weights and measures. That is an abomination according to God. God is calling you to repent for supporting and protecting this abomination. It's doubtful that we will have a 2024 election.
Any other members of the public wishing to speak? Saying none, we can move on to announcements.
Announcements. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold a staff meeting on Thursday, February 22nd, 2024 at 8:30 a.m. in room 112 of the County City Building. Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold its following meetings and public hearings on Tuesday, February 27th, 2024 at 9 a.m. in Room 112 of the County City Building. They are the regular meeting, the public hearing regarding an appeal on resolution PC-018976, special permit 23042 for an approximately 239-foot tall lattice tower for wireless facilities to address inadequate coverages in this area for Verizon Wireless, and the Board of Equalization. County Commissioners can be reached at 402-441-7447 or commish@lancaster.ne.gov. Lancaster County Board of Commissioners meeting is broadcast live on LNK TV. LNK TV is available on Allo Channel 2 and Spectrum Channel 1300. For the rebroadcast schedule, visit lincoln.ne.gov. Meetings are also streamed live on YouTube and Facebook. LNK TV apps are available on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Item 9 is adjournment.
Move
And
we adjourn.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yep.
Yocum,
Yes.
Best,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Flowerday. Flowerday.
Yes, sorry.
Motion carries. We're adjourned.